I'm Pat Barrett, and welcome to Women's Radio. I bet you guys have noticed that we have had a number of really great guys on Women's Radio lately, and I have another one. And I would like to introduce you to Jerry Ashton. And before I let him say anything, I want to tell you his very small story, and then I'm going to let him elaborate because he used to be a debt collector. Now, we all know what debt collectors do, and they're really not usually very popular people. However, he found through, I would say, grace in many ways, a new career because he went to New York and participated in the Wall Street, what do you call it? Sit down on Wall Street. That's not it, but close. At any rate, and found an organization that was trying to relieve medical debt. And he connected with them, and amazing things happened. Instead of being a debt collector, he turned into a debt healer and eliminated millions and millions and millions of debt and millions up to, would you believe, with a B word, billions. So I am very happy to welcome to Women's Radio, Jerry Ashton. Hi, Jerry.
Well, hi there, and thank you so much for having me on your show, Pat.
It's my pleasure. I can't wait for you to share. I mean, really, I think it is like the miracle story, what you did, how you ended up having this change, how you met your partner, how you ended up doing this work, and you have done, well, I guess more, you've accomplished more single-handedly, as it were, and with your partner's help, than multi-million billionaires accomplished by giving things away.
Yep.
And to think of the people that must sing your praises at night and their prayers every single night. I can't even imagine. So you're going to have stars in heaven for sure. So why don't you just tell your story rather than me lauding it?
Well, I can always use more lauding. Yes, actually, the story is even more exciting than you described it. I just didn't meet people. What happened is that there was something going on you might have heard of called Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy Wall Street, right.
That's correct. And if we all remember, that started on September 17th, 2011. And at that time, I was semi-retired as a bill collector. But I also have a background having served in the Navy as a journalist. So when Occupy Wall Street started, I said, well, I got this. I think I'll write about this. So I grabbed my pad and pen and microphone and camera and catch a subway down to Zuccotti Park. I live in New York City, have an apartment near Union Square. So it's just a couple of subway stops. And I walked into Occupy Wall Street, and well, this is interesting. And the stories that they had to tell, I resonated with. One in particular was that there are wrongs that need to be righted, and they were there to do something about that. So I got more interested, more involved. I started joining special interest groups, and finally, I was summoned to a meeting. They had discovered that they had a bill collector in their midst. When we're in the heart of Wall Street, and bill collectors are the enforcers. But they heard about me being part of Occupy, and every time somebody in my vicinity talked about being chased down by a bill collector or not paying their student loan, I would be there to help them. So they invited me to this meeting where they say that they were going to be starting a 501c4, that's political based charity called the Rolling Jubilee, and they needed somebody who understood credit and collections, who understood the debt buying business, that industry, and could help them. And I saw no reason not to, because just between you and me, I cannot imagine any industrial nation the size of ours and the wealth of ours that will allow its citizens to go bankrupt just because they got sick or because they got injured. So
not
as a
one as wealthy as ours that does as well as we do, that where we're all paying into a program, so to speak, and that this could happen, these catastrophes, in large numbers, which you could probably give us all.
well, 60% of all bankruptcies in the United States are medical debt related. How's that for treating your population?
Right.
So
And what happens to these people? What happens to some of these people?
Well, I hate to tell you, but
I know.
when you go bankrupt, it's to prevent yourself from losing whatever's left of what you've got. It could be your house, your car, what have you. But bankruptcy is that's the first way to get out from under. And if you can't get out from under that medical debt, then you go to GoFundMe. And that's it. 30% of all appeals in GoFundMe is from people saying, please help pay my medical bill. Wow. So this enraged me. It enraged me. So I invited my good buddy from the industry, Craig Antico, to meet with these people. We talked to them and we decided to be their back office. And every time they raised money, we would take that money, go to the debt market, buy medical debt, just like you do futures and ham hocks. And we buy for pennies on the dollar. And once Occupy got it into their possession, thanks to us, they were able to abolish it. But we had a good run there. They actually raised over $700,000 and abolished close to $30 million worth of various forms of debt. But when they came up to us and they said that they were going to go in another direction and they were closing that down, Greg and I looked at each other and said, we can't let that happen. And so we started in January of 2014, RIP Medical Debt. That's ripmedicaldebt.org. And in the 10 years since we started it, we've abolished nearly closing in on $11 billion worth of medical debt for over 7 million Americans.
Wow. Well, like I said, I'm sure that they say prayers for you every single night, because I certainly would be doing that. I know.
In all this time, I think I've met 3. I don't get Christmas cards.
That's right, what happens. Folks, you hear that? He doesn't get Christmas cards. He needs a little encouragement here. He's only done $11 billion so far, and helping his dad.
Well, that's the long and the short of it. So what would you like to know about debt in particular, medical debt, what have you?
Well, that didn't come overnight. I mean, how did you guys get where, how do you raise the money that you need just to buy the debt from people who will sell it for pennies, but put you out of your home?
Well, I tell you, that's another story. When we started RIP Medical Debt, we anticipated it was such a good cause that we would, of course, have people donate, tax deductible. Didn't work that way. We starved to death for almost 2 years. Personal loans, running up credit card debt. I'm not saying this as a complaint. We were willing to pay the price. But finally, we were discovered. And that changed everything. And the person that discovered it is a man by the name of John Oliver of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. You may be familiar with him.
Yes.
Well, he decided he was going to play a game on a trick on Oprah. He was going to outdo her. If you remember, she gave away $7 million for the cars.
Yes, everybody's talked about that.
Yes. Well, he decided, and his team of rascals decided that they were going to set up a collection agency, have a debt buyer sell them $15 million worth of medical debt. And that's, by the way, cost them, HBO, it cost them $60,000 to buy $15 million worth of medical debt.
Wow.
So they would buy that medical debt and then they would forgive it and become the new queen of daytime TV. Until someone pointed out to them that comedians do not abolish debt. There are certain rules in place. And so they decided they'd be able to look around and find somebody who really did legitimately forgive medical debt. And they located us. And when they did, we went to the HBO offices, sat around the table with the producers and the attorneys. And sure enough, everything they needed was encompassed in the work that Craig Antico and I were doing. And so we shook hands, and a couple of Friday evenings later, they put a show on. And
the
lo
rest
and
is
behold,
history, as you say, right?
what's that?
And the rest is history, as they say.
Oh, it is. It is. Overnight, we never had to worry about money again. Never.
Wow. The power of the media.
Power of the media. Absolutely.
Right.
Like, this is why I'm so glad that you're putting me on here, because we're going to be talking about a second charity that I've created, but this time focusing on veteran debt.
Yes.
Maybe
Yes.
you'll be the person to enable us to have.
It would be my thrill to do that. My thrill. Yes.
Thanks to your listeners and your viewers. That's the people we thank.
Amen. That's the truth. I have great listeners. I have a great audience. The best, the very best. So why don't you tell people how to get in touch with you in case they feel really strongly led to
there's a website for the veterans debt called endveterandebt.org. endveterandebt.org. You can reach me by saying Jerry, Jerry, at endveterandebt.org, and I'll be happy to respond to anybody's questions. Now, you might ask yourself this question: why is it that veterans have debt to begin with?
Yeah, good question. We're going to get that. We're going to get that next, right? We're going to do another interview.
Oh, yeah.
Shortly.
We're going to go into details on that.
And we'll go into details on that. So if you thought this was interesting, come back and join us, because we're going to have another interview with Jerry and we're going to learn more. I hope you guys are excited as I am. Isn't it great to find people like Jerry and who are just doing amazing things on the planet, useful things? And I am really, really happy to know him myself. So please come back and join us. You'll see it on Women's Radio. And also if you're tuning in on YouTube, and soon we're going to have more platforms open. So you'll find us in more places. So thank you, Jerry. Thank you for being my guest. Thank you for being an unbelievable, receptive, and wonderfully willing person to do all this good work. And we'll look forward to hearing the end of, or the rest of the story, which hopefully won't be the rest of the story, but it'll be en route to the rest of the story.
Here's a little teaser on that story. The Veterans Administration holds $6 billion worth of veterans debt over their heads. And when you turn in next week, $6 billion, you think that we take care of our warriors when they come home.
Right,
well,
no.
I'm here to tell you they don't. In fact, there's a website for that called endveteranmedicaldebt.com. endveteranmedicaldebt.com. That'll give people some idea until we talk next time.
Well, I look forward to it. Thank you so much for being my guest today. We'll look forward to having you back.
Thank you.